Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto, guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at Solana, but specifically the price action in 2025. Where do we think Solana is likely to go this year, and where do we think it will end up in 2025? Guys, as we get into this price prediction for 2025, if you find it useful and informative, then do hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with that done and out of the way, let's kick things off by talking a little bit around Solana first, and then getting into the charts, taking a look at the current performance, and then we'll dive into our 2025 prediction. So Solana is a web-scale open source blockchain protocol that supports developers and institutions around the world to build dApps, or these decentralized applications, and of course marketplaces. Solana's protocol is fast, secure, censorship resistant, which provides the flexibility of an open infrastructure required to build applications for mass adoption. This high-performance blockchain provides the fully decentralized, secure, and highly scalable infrastructure necessary for tomorrow's dApps and decentralized marketplaces. It leverages a set of breakthrough computational technologies that can support thousands of nodes, allowing the transaction throughput to proportionately scale with the network bandwidth. So Solana uses a combination of proof of stake and proof of history consensus mechanisms to improve throughput and scalability. The network claims to support about 50,000 transactions per second, so you can see this thing has some serious potential to it. But let's talk a little bit around what are the core features, right? So in order to really understand Solana, you have to understand that there are 8 core innovations that make Solana the first web-scale blockchain, right? We have proof of history. This is a clock before the consensus. We have 𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗔𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙 basically a mempool-less transaction forwarding protocol. We have a turbine, a block propagating protocol, a C-level parallel smart contract runtime, pipelining, a transaction processing unit for validation optimization, 𝗕𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗪, the ability to horizontally scale accounts database. We have archivers, distributed ledger storage. So there's several things there that are really crucial and important to understand when it comes to how Solana works and why this is a project that is absolutely flying at the moment. So obviously talking about proof of history, right? So despite the name, proof of history, or POH, is not a consensus mechanism, but a cryptographic clock that enables nodes to agree on the time order of the events on the chain without having to talk to each other, since each node has its own clock. So POH helps create more efficiency and higher throughput within the network by storing historical records of transactions and allowing the system to keep track of the order of the events more easily. Okay, we can talk about the Gulf Stream, which is what enables Solana to reach 50,000 transactions per second. Well worth doing more research in on that one. The turbine is a block propagator, or a propagation protocol, I should say, that breaks data down into smaller increments, making data transfers easier among the nodes. C-level, this is a parallelization transaction processing engine that enables Solana to scale horizontally across GPUs and SSDs. So basically, in a nutshell, C-level allows for concurrent transactions on the same chain, resulting in better runtime for the network overall. Pipelining is a common procedure used in CPU design. It basically refers to the process of assigning a stream of input data to different hardware for processing, and this enables quick transaction information to be replicated and validated faster across the node of networks, right? So really critical and important stuff. Now, 𝗕𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗪 is a data structure and required for the network's scalability and throughput. It organizes the database of accounts, making concurrent read and writes between the network's 32 threads possible. We have obviously the distributed ledger storage. So Solana's validators offload the data to the network, or to a network of nodes known as archivers. And archiver nodes can be basic laptops or PCs that the network leverages for data storage. So again, understand those, dig deeper if you want to do more research onto. I'm not going to dive into it in too much detail on this video. This is really about the kind of 2025 price prediction. But this particular blockchain has so much going for it, right? And obviously how it's kind of been put together and built is well worth checking out and getting into the white paper and figuring out what makes this thing tick, and you can then understand why it is flying the way that it is. And when we actually take a look at the charts here for the current performance, things are speeding along absolutely rapidly, and it's really difficult to actually see where things are going here, because we usually would rely on some history to kind of give us a good nudge in the right direction, but there is limited history with a new blockchain like this. So we end up kind of a little bit of speculation, a little bit of science, and trying to kind of figure out where things are likely to go. So we obviously do have our Fibonacci retracement tool. Obviously, we had the pullback that most people are aware of, calling it a bit of a bear market, but it's a fourth wave correction that we saw. So we just see Solana basically reach $58 before pullback, bringing it down to $19. Now, when you put a Fibonacci retracement tool on this, it shows us as a high of $185, right? But we're already steaming our way up there. So right now we're actually approaching our 3.618 area already, and it's far too soon to see that kind of top coming in at the 4.236. So the likelihood is we're going to completely smash past our $185 target, and we'll be going on a little bit further. So in some of the recent technical analysis that I have done for Solana, I have of course been talking about the potential for Solana to maybe go up towards that kind of $300 level. But I'm going to show you some of the kind of best case scenarios. I'm going to take then some assumptions into 2025, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this third wave, okay? So we have this kind of push to the upside here. This is what is the third wave, and known with many altcoins. We can take a look at something like ADA, for example. Let me just bring the ADAs up here, and we'll just bring it to the weekly for a second. So you can see basically we have 1 wave, 2 waves, 3 waves, 4 waves, and 5 waves, right? There's these 5 impulse waves to the upside. And what we're going to focus in on for Solana is this third wave, okay? So when we actually come back into our Solana chart here, and we'll go back into our daily view, and what we'll do is we'll just really focus in on this third wave, okay? This is the third wave. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab hold of our bars here. We're going to grab this bar pattern, and we're going to take it from that entire wave there, and we're going to see how that kind of maps out, right? So from the low of wave 2 up to the peak of wave 3, right? So if we were to just replicate our third wave, then where would that actually put us? So as we go put this down on our low point over here, and this kind of gives us then a bit of an interesting thing. It's actually marrying up quite nicely on our charts here. We can see we had a bit of a sideways trade exactly around this level, which came in at 70, and then we started to break up, and then we look for a pullback right on top of that 4.236, just pulling below this $161 range before then going up even further, sideways trading and so forth, right? So we can tell that this kind of then puts us towards the end of December, right? So again, the patterns kind of fit. Now, I don't think we're likely to see this extreme kind of push to the upside, but if we did, that would actually then see us peaking out just over $1,000 for Solana. Now, I think $300 is definitely something that we should be looking at and thinking that is achievable. I'm going to quickly just mark up a couple of these areas, right? Because I think that is a really interesting area, $332, right? Mainly because that's a peak, then we have a pullback before we're actually getting that second surge to the upside. Then we obviously have another one just up here. And again, this is an interesting area that was previously like resistance turned to a support line. This comes in at $542. And again, if we actually throw another one just on here under that support, and then we peak out at the top there, we start to see a bit of an interesting kind of push to the upside here on this bar pattern, right? Now, for this analysis, I'm not going to use that high price prediction. I want to be conservative the best I can, but I do think we're going to smash past a couple of these levels. I'm going to use, for this piece of analysis for thinking about 2025, I'm going to use the $542 high point, okay? That's going to be my high just here. That's where I'm thinking that's actually quite achievable for Solana. I think that is something that we can see. And if we do actually go up here, that would be fantastic, because the higher we push, the higher the 2025 price prediction will be, okay? So when it comes to whether you want to sell all of your Solana during the bull run and then buy back later, or whether you just want to dollar cost average consistently all the way through to 2025, that's the point of this video. So the point of this video is to decide whether or not we want to be really heavily focusing in on Solana during the bear market, really finding out those buy zones and all that kind of good stuff, and whether or not we actually just want to hodl a certain percentage as well all the way through without selling. It really does depend on what your kind of strategies are. Okay, so the point of this video is to kind of help you guys understand what might be coming and how to kind of deal with that from a strategic point of view. Now, with knowing this and knowing that we have a high point, we obviously have to assume that we're also going to lose about 90% of the value during a bear market. Now, for the case of Solana, I'm not sure that's going to be 100% accurate. I'm going to actually go with a 80% correction, okay? And I think this is good because we're having a lot of stuff that's going to be built on the platform. It's going to have a lot of development work. I think it's going to fare a little bit better than some of the other cryptocurrencies out there, right? Which would normally fall down like 90%. So what we're going to do in this analysis is 80. But if we do actually go down lower, again, that would actually put the price prediction in 2025 higher, okay? The lower that you go, the higher you go next time round. So really important that we're going to take a really medium-ranged price prediction as the high point for this cycle. Then we're going to drop it down 80%, and then we're going to see where that actually lands us in 2025. So what we're going to do here is we're going to grab hold of our price range. We're going to grab our area here, which is our $542 range, and we're going to drop this down 80%. Okay, so this actually then find an 80% here. So that puts us then all the way down at this point. Okay, which would basically put Solana at $107. Okay, so that's an interesting kind of price drop. We lose basically 80% of our value, $434 theoretically. And again, this then lets us go ahead and put this Fibonacci retracement tool on. Now we have history we can actually utilize, and we can see where we are going to end up. Let me just see if I can get that on the nose. There we go. What I'll do is I'll just remove my down arrow here, and then we'll just zoom in on this. So here we can actually see some pretty interesting areas, right? So I'm just going to expand this up a little bit, pull this down. So what we have is the very first kind of price target then puts us back up towards that $810 range, right? So not all-time high territory. Well, actually, it would be all-time high territory if we actually only go for that $542, right? So here we can obviously see a pretty good price target of 810. That would then be followed up by 1,244, followed by the 3.618, which is 1,678, and then just under $2,000 is our 4.236 at $1,947. So again, pretty interesting areas, right? $1,947 is the price target for our price prediction for 2025 on Solana. Now that again feels actually quite conservative and pretty realistic to think about what is going to be happening in the entire crypto space and where we envision crypto being by 2025. A $1,947 Solana coin. It seems pretty achievable to me personally, but let me know in the comments below, what do you think about that kind of price prediction? Do you think Solana is going to be higher? Do you think it's going to be lower? Do you actually agree with the methodology used here to try to come up with these assumptions? Obviously, I will do another video once we actually have the top come in for many of these cryptocurrencies and see how close we were with our kind of thinking at this point here. But once we do have those tops in, we'll have a pretty good idea as to where things are going to go next, and that's going to be a pretty fantastic kind of way to reassess the situation, whether we're going to really focus in on this one from a percentage gain point of view, or whether or not we're going to find some additional diamonds in the rough to kind of get behind. Guys, if you have found this video useful and informative, then do hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. With that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.